Yep, that's why we say in the name of the divine creator.
Right.
See, because we own divine law.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the purpose of establishing the Council meeting of North America, to establish divine law. A law that we unfamiliar with.
Yeah, that's right.
Because it has been hidden from us and covered by other words.
Yeah.
Like God's law.
Yeah.
And so those things we're going to get an understanding of why that was pushed on us as a people to declare the word God openly and in public. Okay, we on chapter 47 out of the circle 7. The circle 7 divine, that's what I like to call it.
Yeah.
And these teachings and these hidden historical records that we are now exposed to and now is on record for public view and for all to know. It's that time.
That's right. When I think about the book of Isaiah, it says that ain't nothing covered that shall not be revealed. And ain't nothing hid. And it's so much on this earth that you don't know which one. Right at your present, right at your shot and touch it. We start ready to.
We're ready.
Also, Egypt, the capital empire of the dominion of Africa.
We can get into something here.
One, right, from the
There's some old records right here.
old records.
Where people from Africa.
Yeah, they from Canaan. That means that they was dislocating what they call now Africa.
There we go.
See? They let you know that they've been on the move. And you look at today, everybody on the move, man. Going somewhere up and down the interstate. Highways and byways. Two, old man Kush and his family are the first inhabitant of Africa who came from the land of Canaan. See?
And this all talking about ancient people.
Ancient people.
Of a bloodline.
That's right.
In a place, in a region.
Right.
Topologically, geographically, and demographically.
That's right.
So, in old words, we say Canaan.
Yeah.
But intonated, it would have been like Kana. Like Kana.
Yeah.
Like Americana. Right. Before these things like Amir, which is a Persian word, was put on things. Things in its origin was called a true name.
Yeah.
And to have the truth, you must have and use the true name.
That makes sense.
If you don't use the true name, then that's the false name. And then it's under falsehood. And that's a delusion.
Yeah.
Got people under African American in America. Not knowing their roots, not knowing their origin, because that was stolen and legacies of ancestors was wiped out as an American Holocaust. America had its own Holocaust.
Yeah.
And that's why the future generations that came after that don't know nothing about it. We don't know what the victor said. Wrote what the pen said.
Yeah.
Is that con?
Right.
Associated with this con?
Right. It's associated with this con from the Sufian. That beautiful study. See, it's Sufa 70. This is who would be the Canaanites. The Al Dukan.
Look at that. Al Dukan.
So the
yeah. And I just always think about that. Cannabis with Canaan and Canaanite.
right.
They done the pay us in, man, done made it illegal.
Right.
And it made us illegal because we once wouldn't lie to reading all right. That was illegal. Look at that. Go ahead. What you didn't say.
Read or write his language.
Yeah.
Let's make that clear.
Yeah.
Read or write his language. We was good without it.
Yeah.
But learn to read his language.
Yeah.
And some of that was forced upon us, and some of us didn't even care to know it.
That's right.
Some of us went to the grave without being able to. And so those who could come read and write, what has came out of it? We're talking about taking it back to its origin, because the new words that we have no origin. Even the tree has a root.
Yeah.
So we're talking about going to the root of creation.
Yeah.
The word candy. No, these are the first people who wrote holy scriptures. This don't belong to me. Backing down and go to their point of origin. Yeah. Point of origin, we can make a decision. Right. We can have the word Canaanites. Yeah. And the Canaanites was as we see, we know a group of dog people, to say the least.
3. His father Ham and his family were second. Then came the word Ethiopia, which means the demarcation, dimension of a Mexican. The first true and divine name of Africa. The dividing of the land between the Father and the Son.
There you go.
And then
point of origin.
Yeah.
That's why you say northwest.
That's right.
The signal U.S. or North America.
And
of Africa.
Origin.
Yeah.
That's our forefathers called.
Yeah.
See, our forefathers didn't call Africa Africa. That's why you got this. It says divine name, y'all.
That's right.
Make sure when divine should poke out all the time.
Oh yeah.
The divine name of Africa.
That's right.
So you don't even hear this anymore.
That's right.
Because people don't know it anymore, because this actually connects to a actual origin.
And USA, which is a copycat, because that's why they spell America O-F, to be part of or to draw from another name. And that's why they changed it. Instead of putting USA, United States of America, they put United States of America. Different. See the word, see the switcheroo. And this is the land that they're on. And then they had the audacity to come up with so many states and give them names and make them part of it. But the land was already present and exist in the name before they even came to the United
States. While we're reading this, our minds have no association with our ancestors.
That's right.
To associate with not themselves, but what they call.
There you go.
So when we're talking about call things, we don't call on things that belong to the names of our ancestors. See, this is critical for us to liberate ourselves. You can't get out of a language that you keep thinking in.
Right on.
You can't think yourself out of a language you keep thinking in. Right. You're never going to be liberated.
That's right.
So to understand liberation is to understand how these things came about. Ethiopia to Africa is a new name by foreign ancestors.
That's correct.
About foreign, this is how we get the word America, because Africa is a foreign word, and Amir is a foreign word.
That's right.
And so these two, Amir is Persian, Africa is Roman. So now you got a Persian Roman name.
Yeah.
And this is what rules over this place.
That's right.
What goes over the Persian is the Old Testament. What goes over Rome is the New Testament. The Bible is what holds all this all together and makes it believable. Because as we hear about the bondage of Egypt, but you don't hear about the bondage of a Mexican. So that's what the mind has to, as they say, off or the light bulb come on.
Yeah.
This is why we're talking about divine name. These people hate the divine. Persian and Romans, they hate the divine.
Yeah. So
to have the divine name of anything in its origin is the greatest power. So to call your God back to his original name is your greatest power. God is not the forefathers' name of what they call the divine being.
That's right.
But if you don't know that, the game on you is called Know Thyself. So this is very important to understand that little historical timeline, how we come to the name of America and why the name of America and why is it not serving the people who are under the name. But this seems to be ruled by other people. And none of the money got your father, your grandfather. That's why I don't care if it don't have any of my ancestors on it. Why care?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, work for who faces on the money. In our term, we said render unto Caesar what is Caesar and what is the divine unto the divine. So divine and Caesar are two different things. I'm gonna say that again. The divine and Caesar is two different things. Caesar is just not one person. That is an emperor of a family line, of a long family tree, keeping the dynasty of Rome alive.
Right on. Right on.
They have a month named after them in your language called July.
Look at that.
See, all these things is we have to understand. Our ancestors didn't never have a name called July. So our goal is to find the names that our ancestors used to describe. No man or woman can ever change or abrogate, suspend the divine law. And this is why we use the divine creator. This is what our ancestors used, the divine creator.
That's right. Right on. And the 7 days of the week is named after pagan god under the sun. And then I also discovered from January to December is also named after pagan gods. So we wrapped up like in a nutshell. Those who can't come out. And they practice this every day. They look forward to this. And everybody called these names. And it's all because of ignorance. For the dominion of Cush, northeast and southeast of Africa, and northwest and southwest was his father's dominion of Africa.
Man.
North, south, west, east and west.
Mm-hmm.
See?
What, they in the Middle East?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See how words can play with you? Now it's Middle East. I guess it's a Middle North too, and a Middle South. Things like saying that.
Mm-hmm. And who is Ham?
Mm-hmm.
And we got Cush and Ham.
Yeah.
These things should be very symbolic to the reasoning of understanding how things came.
Five, in latter years, many of their brethren from Asia and the Holy Land joined them.
Mm-hmm. So now that's where you get Asiatic.
Yeah.
So you get African.
Yeah.
As the place after all this took place.
Mm-hmm.
People renamed. Rome renamed.
Yeah.
But this was going on before Rome came.
That's right.
Being a Mexican was before Rome.
Right on.
When they say then came the word Ethiopia, that came after.
That's correct.
So these places now that we know as Africa
Mm-hmm.
has its origin before being named Africa. Right. Roman invaders. So the land was belonged to people,
Mm-hmm.
not rulers. The land belonged to people. They had brothers and sisters. And this place was respected as holy.
Mm-hmm.
So some things going on we want to keep track of.
That's right. And today, all you see is people dropping bombs all over the land, tearing up, just trying to tear up the land, tear up the kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
These bad men.
Mm-hmm.
The Moabites from the land of Moab, who received permission from pharaohs of Egypt to settle and inhabit West. They were founders and are the true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire. That's another word you don't hear come out of people's mouth. But with their Canaanites, Hittites, and Amorite brethren, who sojourned from the land of Canaan, seeking new homes. Exploitation, adventure, traveling.
So let's get that understanding. The Moab, as it's saying, Moab, that's the Moab.
Yeah.
So the Moab and the Dukan. Remember, we got to understand this. This was presented in 1900, but it was before people time and before scholarship was prevalent amongst, let's just say, our people minds. And so we talking about tracing this knowledge back to its origin. The Moab is Morag, the Canaanite is Dukan. And we have it in the Sufian, proving both. And then these are the people that brought knowledge and wealth before the Babylonian period. Then we have those who brought it to Egypt, who we were just saying, the pharaohs of Egypt. And then we have Syria. These places were dominant or referred to as the Middle East. And last Sunday, we had the lesson about the beginning of Christianity. And we found out the bloodline of Jesus and the Moabites. So once again, that confirms the Dukan and the Morag. So if we understand what we are understanding, we should be becoming liberated from the knowledge and awareness of it alone. Because this is big.
Oh, yeah.
It's finna explain even more.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. 7. Their dominion and inhabitation extended from northeast and southwest Africa across Great Atlantis, even unto the present North and South and Central America, and also Mexico and the Atlantis Island before the great earthquake which caused the Great Atlantic Ocean. And boy, we talking about
now we talk about a divine birth that spreads far and wide, touching every part of the land, from Asia, which consists of all European countries.
That's right.
Africa, consider all of the Middle East and all of the darker nations.
That's right.
And then that dominion and divine right extends all the way to North, South, Central America, Mexico, and the Atlantis Islands. So this divinity goes around.
That's right.
But they wanted to make it seem like it was only in one place and wasn't any spread it to any other place.
That's right.
And the people who brought what they brought acted as if theirs was the only thing respected. And in their writings from their scribes, they didn't have the word divine and none of these historical markers. So before Rome can be Rome, all this was going on, but divine. But since Rome, we even hardly hear the word divine. And this is due to our ignorance, believing what Rome offered us. When in Rome doing Rome, the Romans say, well, we ain't in Rome.
I heard that. 7. The river Nile and made in order to trade with the surrounding kingdoms. So the Niger River was dreaded by the Great Barrier trade, and it extended eastward from the river Nile westward across the Great Atlantic, and it was used for trade and transportation. River.
No. A lot is being said right here. Pudding is that's the word nigger, the nigger river.
Mm-hmm.
To conclude who's in this territory. Dark skin, olive complexion. So when we talk nigger is a divine word. It was used by ancients of the past. Today we was known from the Roman tongue that it was called Pharaoh. But as we see, because you know it's false Pharaoh. So when we say in the reading it says by ancient Pharaoh, these are the nobles.
That's right.
And that word Pharaoh is Sufa-Ra. The Sufian. We have to understand our language of our ancestors. And that's what scholarship come in for. Where we can now piece all those missing puzzles that was giving us misconception of understanding, begin and end in a Mexican. It stretches forth to America, but the name changed into the Mississippi River.
Look at that.
The Mississippi River connects into the Nile. These things was trade and for transportation. These was known facts of ancient past. The people who wrote with their scribes, the Roman scribes and the Roman priests wanted this blotted out of the record. So they didn't include this record when they wrote the record of the Bible. Oh yeah, here it come right here. This is where it's finna come. This is where it's finna come.
9. According to all truth and divine record of the human race, there is no Negro, black, or colored race attached to the human family.
We needed that.
Because all the inhabitants of Africa were and are of the human race, Canaanite nation from the holy land of Canaan. Now look at that right there. There ain't no Negro over here in this country calling himself a Canaanite. Nor Moabite. But you hear Negro, Black American, colored folks, and the crayon goes on. And you know, they had to do a bad job on us when we had a sister come from the other land, from over in there. And she said that the only time she heard of this white and black thing was when she arrived over here. So you can see the spell and the ignorance that's been done to us.
And see, and our people need true divine wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you say our people, you don't have a label to even say for yourself besides almost one of these words.
That's right.
That has to change. And that's why K.O.S. is here through the long and rigorous. Everything added up where it makes sense.
Yeah.
Position where we do not know. Or we have ones who do know because they was in a position where they did not know.
Yeah.
And so this is where the link and the connectivity comes. It's not saying that you're supposed to know it all. We in a place where we didn't know it all. But we have to start understanding to start sharing what you come to know. And so what you come to know could be very beneficial to all if we understand what all needs to come to know. That the people who call themselves black are not. In all true and divine records, you are related back to a family.
That's right.
So you have to understand a family is not Negro, a family is not black, or a family is not color. That's why when we started the verses off, we didn't say that the black man Kush.
That's right.
And his family. Negro man Kush and his family. We're talking about names. Names denote human.
Yeah.
Black, that's not a human. Negro, that's not a human.
That's right.
Colored, that's not a human. You need a human name. And so when we're talking about these are human names that live, of course, they would not have human names. As you have a human name. And you will hope your children respect the name. In order to keep the name or keep the legacy, keep the alive.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about that in a micro perspective, let's extend it back to the far past everything we would say peaches and cream. There was no misunderstanding anyway. Everybody had the same understanding as what people call monism today in philosophical studies. These things was practiced before Platonic and before these things was known in lands far and wide. We talking about we had one commonality, and that was the divine creator. For people to understand what we was talking about as the divine creator, these later day philosophical sciences ranges from different philosophies and systems that come to be, didn't originate from our ancestors. That was from the first true and divine. So we have to regroup in our understanding so we can birth a renewal of a mind. Because our mind is what we gotta use for liberation. Not money, not cars, and we can't use misknowledge. You can't have misconceptions when it comes to right knowledge. So when we understanding that the connection of you being connected to the Jesus and Jesus bloodline is significant. Jesus did not call himself black, even though he was a nigger. Jesus did not call himself a Negro, though he was a nigger. Jesus did not call himself color, even though he was a nigger. As a nigger, he was a Nazar. He was a Nazar, a Nazarene. Where do we get any articulation that Jesus knew himself and called himself by families he knew not? So this is what we have to understand. Because I will be and not anything less and anything lesser. This word has been changed into persons. So this is why we say human. The human is the Homo sapien in English, is the Al Sufian in our ancient language. We always spoke the same language across the world. Just the tonations changed. But the word itself did never change until the name changes came called Rome. And Rome loved to be in the high position of rulership. And so when we're talking about who is helping Rome, that's Persia. These people work together to keep the divine and keep the literature and keep the whole historical reference of who these mighty prophets were and the bloodline of these prophets. So you will not have any association to reality, but you will have association to mythological records. So we have to understand these things have a place and they have a time and they have a reference in reality. And this reality comes from America, but we got to come to this understanding through understanding the Canaanites. And the Canaanites being the Americanos, and Americana being the Holy Land. Holy lands, we populated Africa from over here.
That's right.
Everything that came to be. This is why we will find older monuments here than there.
That's right.
But we taught them the science, so whatever they did, they did. But Arizona is older than Caesar. Arizona, that's where Morab, these things are at.
Just a different name, they're gonna change.
So we have to understand this is why they changed the names to these 50 states. But they know this is the land of milk and honey, just as we read the record now.
That's right.
We said Canaanite.
Yep. See that?
Now today we say American. But it's the same thing, Canaanite. So we have truth and how to relate it back to our ancestral foundation. This is routine.
Right on.
We gotta honor our mothers and fathers.
That's right.
They come before us.
Right on. 10. What your ancient forefathers were. Or contradiction.
What that sound like?
Now you might not realize what's going on here, but remember the word and story of the truth don't change. Why it's saying you the same offsprings of your forefathers, but you don't realize that. Now we done lost our mind in this. I mean, since they turned it into the middle, you don't have to worry about all of that any longer. They done did a New Orleans combo. See, without
Right. And so it's a reason why this is said. This is not just fancy writing for someone else's resurrection. This is to free you. This is to liberate you.
Right.
This is to give you the wisdom of the divine. And this is what is called. And so you are divine with addiction. Now I want to point that out. If you're studying with me, then you should understand why that's important. Because we are what our forefathers are and were. And that's, once again, we follow the way of our divine forefathers. That's what we're going to say. Divine forefathers and divine foremothers. And their way was called the Sufian, the way of which there is no doubt. Our divine forefathers didn't.
Look at it.
Not Canaanite in origin. That is not in origin of divine. Everything that we have been given that has been given in contrary to the divine is called the flood. And from the flood, which is the flood of words, the words of language, changing them from our ancient divine language to now, called the flood. And it's called Noah's Ark. This way of form of thinking and speaking is filled with doubt and contradiction. Since we not as self-aware of mind of self, we don't think it's affecting self. So we want to make sure that we understand our ancient forefathers and foremothers, Sufian. And Sufian means wisdom of the divine or the way of the divine. And this is without a doubt or contradiction. It's very important that we.
11. There is no one who is able to change man from his forefathers unless his power extended beyond the great universe creator, Allah himself. And we know can't nothing stand.
And see, that's what is speaking on here. Wrong. There's no one who is able to change your mind from its descendant nature. Divine forefathers. See, our divine forefathers didn't call the divine creator God.
Look at that.
So if you call God, that means you don't have no link to your divine creator. Your divine creator comes from your divine. And they had a specific name for the divine creator. Divine creator of all. All this is all law. And that's how we laid it down. It was all or nothing.
Right on.
And that was committed to the divine.
That's right.
It was divine or it was nothing.
That's right.
If we ain't gonna do it in the conduct of divine,
yeah,
then we ain't doing nothing at all.
Mm-hmm.
So people who understand that the people of the Far East, see, those are Persians strapping bombs to themselves, getting you to think opposite of what you need to be actually knowing.
Yeah.
That is blasphemy. And these Persians love blasphemy. The Romans gonna make sure you get it out the mud, out of knowledge and wisdom. If you don't know no better, you're gonna violate all divine law, and that's on you. Ignorance is no excuse. Leave Rome of the divine creator. And know that name carry weight and carry freedom and carry liberation. We talking about the divine deity. The God of all gods. And we ain't saying what our divine forefathers left behind for us.
Yeah.
As we continue, we finna see why.
Mm-hmm. 12. These holy and divine laws are from the prophet Noble Drew Ali, the founder of the Uniting of the Moorish Science Temple of America.
What type of laws are these?
Divine law, holy and divine.
Connecting us back to what is holy and divine.
That's correct.
Uniting us back to what is holy and divine. Correct. Called Moorish science, or wisdom of the divine.
Right on. That's right.
The science and wisdom. And this is why we have to give honors to all divine prophets.
That's right. Excuse me.
The teachers were left who have the whole laws. Buddha, Confucius, Muhammad, Jesus, and Ali. The left behind holy and divine laws for self to liberate from anything that's not self.
Yeah.
And for self to unite with its divine, its greater self, and to be equal with that divinity for the rest of the days. And without this holy and divine law language called the Sufian language, we do a disservice to ourselves.
That's right.
People who did an honor for their future posterity, who looked in the future for their future generations to have salvation, to have be redeemed, to be perfected. This was left behind. And those who live in dishonor carry no honor. And so they dishonor the holy and divine teachings.
Yeah.
And these teachings was provided back from us. We can say from 10,000 millennium BCE all the way up to now with Ali, we have been sped up to of holiness and divine law. This was a movement of divinity that has been turned into a lawful legality of misunderstanding of nationalism, understanding of politia. Divine laws was always the order of the day. And that when man fell, he fell from this holy and divine order and instruction and fell into the ways of non-divinity and non-freedom. So we have to be mindful. Our divine forefathers left us behind wisdom divine.
That's right. That's right. And you know, when you don't have the laws of divine, a law or divine law, and you have the opposite, this is where all the trouble is at, because they have so many laws in the USA, and just look at the trouble that we have. Listen, if it ain't divine, it's no involvement. And you don't have trouble because it's not divine. You can call it Department of Justice all day long. Legislatures and make laws all day long. You don't get to see that right now. So we ain't benefit from none of it, none of the above. Rightfully way of life. This is what happened. Now somebody got you pledge allegiance to a flag, and if you don't stand up, take your hat off, or don't sing along, but if you're in an organization, they'll throw you out like the NFL did Kaepernick. See? This is what's going on. It's not of us. Rome all day long. The same of Jesus Christ, and they said that in the lesson. 13. These laws are to be strictly preserved by the members of all the temples of the Moorish Science Temple of America, that they will learn to open their meeting and guide according to the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. If I pause for a call and ask you, if you take a look around and use your gaze as a measuring stick, do you see love present? Do you see truth present? Do you see peace present? Do you see freedom present? And do you see justice present? All I see is turmoil bomb being dropped, more killing, shooting, false, wrong truth, lies, no peace, no freedom, no justice. And the beat goes on. This is what's going on right here in this country. And not only this, over the world, in this telling that we done left divinity, the divine law, in man. What a mess. What a mess.
And see, principles, salvation, or reaching divine life. This is what is called living the spirit life. When you live according to the principles, the mind of love, the mind of truth, the mind of peace, the mind of freedom, and the mind of justice, then one is liberated. And once one is guided according to these divine five. Self-divine will arise.
Right on.
Because this is very important. That what you just said, in the world, that's what we see.
Yeah.
The opposite of these principles being acted upon.
That's right.
And it's destroying the world, young to old.
Yeah.
It wouldn't matter who, is anyone going to be left.
That's right.
If we don't speak up,
that's right,
and bring forth the truth.
That's right. And one more other thing I would like to mention. You set up a Department of Justice. What about a Department of Freedom? A Department of Peace? A Department of Truth? And a Department of Love? Don't need it. Let's kill. And let's steal. And nobody's free under Jim Crow law. See? It's time to be conscious. Wait. We've been marching in the streets for many years, as long as I can remember. And they got a rhythm and a saying. They said, no justice, no peace. Marching in the street for peace and justice. You cannot get peace and justice from an outlaw or a crook or a politician, nor a government. It's the government who's doing all this here, killing and stealing and lying. Every subordinated temple of the grand major temple is to form under the covenant of love. See, he's making sure whatever you setting up, you better make sure this the covenant of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Boy, that sounds sweet. That sounds like the thing. Yeah. Your guns and your bones. What you need guns for? The animals wants to live too. So you don't need to be shooting them neither. But they designed to kill humans and kill animals. And anything get in their way. And I'm here to tell y'all, ever since they come up with the gun and the gunpowder, they've been killing ever since from a distance. And go out and hire people who make atom bombs and nuclear bombs and want to sit back on the throne and strut their stuff and brag about who got the biggest bomb. My. Is that shameful and sinful? And to create their own laws and customs in conjunction with the laws of the Holy Prophet and the Grand Temple. Oh, look at this. Create their own laws. That's what USA been doing. We can't be part of this. Capital I, the prophet, Noble Ali. And people's afraid to say his name. You can't hear King, everybody but Noble Ali. Don't mention that. Shh, get your mouth shut. Was sent by the great God Allah to warn all Asiatic of America to repent from their sinful ways. Sinful ways. And I don't have to ask the question, is that going on right now? Before that great and awful day is sure to come. 15. The time has come when every nation must worship under its own vine and fig tree, and every tongue must confess his own. Somebody got you singing the Spangled Banner. See? You ain't singing your own, somebody else. Allegiance to your own flag, but somebody else. And if you ain't careful, and I'm here to tell you, ever since I can remember, they've been singing the Star Spangled Banner. And boy, and they just get so involved and into it, and they want to sing it the best that they can. And that's all about bombs. His bomb speaks of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. That's what we just read. And I stand behind Israel with bombs and guns and money together. But the poor folks here can't get a dime. How much more you need to see and hear that somebody don't have your best interest at hand. You've been killing your forefathers, your mothers, your brothers, your sisters, your aunts, your uncles, and your children. They call them juvenile. You use that word, kill them all day long.
Man, I must say, just listening to all of that.
Go ahead.
That's where the problem comes from. The people born in this came out in 1913.
Mm-hmm.
I was fortunate to find it in 2012. So almost 100 years later, I come across it for my own study.
Mm-hmm.
And these principles work. I didn't have these principles before life.
Mm-hmm.
And after reading this, I had them for life. It's something that has evidently went way to the left side, left field. And I can clearly hear it and clearly know what it is. And it's that. See, it's one thing younger people is never people. And so when older people have violated themselves by violating who come before them, we have a big problem. And so from the 1900s all the way to 2024, there has not been an honor. We wouldn't even have these type of or we wouldn't even have to have these type of studies if we already had this in homes, because this is honoring. You know, this class is a meeting, and this is a meeting of honor. Honor those who came before you, respecting the laid down, understanding the mind of those who came before. When you lose honor to those who come before you, because as I see the people who are calling themselves black, Negro, color, they have no future. They are dishonor, and they dishonor our beautiful divine forefathers, left us principles, unchangeable. And we did, and I'm not myself, have not dishonored, and will not dishonor. What comes after you dishonoring those who left the divine way for you, and you choose to not remember, you choose to not follow, you choose to go to your own? Well, we may understand why this is why a large sense of the problem has occurred. Because we're not just talking about honor to recent, something recent. We're talking honor all the way to the beginning of the divine. And a lot of blacks have dishonored themselves by not honoring those of their divine forefathers and foremothers who came before them and laid this down. So in my respect, I have no respect for dishonor anymore. If you choose to dishonor divine, that's on you. Because slavery never started. Dishonor is what created slavery. Dishonor is what created poverty. Dishonor is what created these separations. True honor, no matter what, will always stay in honor. And so when you lose that honor, you deserve to have everything that come to you. Because ever since I picked up dishonor, I have nothing but greatness come to me. And I'm talking the wisdom of the divine. Honor that was bestowed upon myself. Time out in doing the work and understanding the connection of what this divine prophet has brought all. Mm-hmm. But I took the time to sit down and study the teachings left behind. As it was written, take this and save yourself. Mm-hmm. And you can also take this and save a nation. So in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, mm-hmm. This is why K.O.S. is born. Mm-hmm. Out of the honor from what was received. And from what was received will be lived. And these things is our own. We don't have to call on Rome. Right. We don't have to call on anything but our own. Right. Mm-hmm. To do otherwise is to fall in dishonor. Mm-hmm. And when you fall in dishonor, you fall into untruth. Not wisdom, but foolishness and ignorance. Because these principles have saved my life, and they will save anyone's life who pick these principles up, live in honor, right, despite the encouragement of temptations, mm-hmm. and the discouragement from environments, mm-hmm. that you stay dutiful to your duty of what has been given to you. Mm-hmm. And so this is why we must understand ignorance is here now. Mm-hmm. Dishonor. Slavery comes from following dishonor. Mm-hmm. Problems come from dishonor. Mm-hmm. I have tracked all this down. I have listened to many speak. What has been felt consistent is honor. Mm-hmm. And my name means honor. Mm-hmm. So it's time to show what that looks like in the flesh. Mm-hmm. To never lay down on what you honor and what you stand, and that's the respect from the cradle to the grave. So this is what our divine forefathers left for us to own and to stand under. And it's our own vine and fig tree that no other language, mm-hmm. no other tongue can come and rend us anything that we not. Yeah, that was very important.
Very
important.
Two more verses. Through sin and disobedience, every nation has suffered slavery due to the fact that the creed and principles of their forefathers. And what makes people drop bombs and harm and kill others? And when those who the bomb being dropped on and sin being committed, and they stand up and protest against that, they send the law and lock them up and beat them with billy clubs and shoot them and throw them in jail. Just because they didn't agree with this sin and disobedience in this. Oh yeah, this is going across the lands of America right now. And the reason they're protesting because they're talking about the leaders of Capitol Hill dropping guns and bombs. And all those partners and allies that they connected with committing this sinfulness. Oh, we talking about the same one who loved to sing the Star Spangled Banner. Oh, my country, 'tis of thee, as I kill and sing. It's got a nerve to say sweet liberty. Last verse. That is why the nationality of the Moors was taken away from them in 1774. You talking about the ones who live in the USA, in all these states. And the word Negro, black, and color. And by the way, you can still hear these same now. You have been told you know none of this, but you hear it today. They singing it like a bird. Was given to the Asiatic of America who were Moorish descendants because they honor not the principles of their mother and father and strayed after the gods, plural, of Europe, of whom they knew nothing. The sellers came over here, set up shop, because once upon a time it wasn't no 50 states, but they set up one shop and they come from 1 to 2 and from 2 to 3 and from 3 to 4. This what we see and hear. Fathers and mothers, ladies and gentlemen, if you're out there listening in on that land, what you do, keep your scales of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. You're going to see right and who's wrong. You can lie all you want. And when you tell one lie, you got to tell another lie. And may I remind you, secret. Our forefathers and mothers gave us a way, a principle that we supposed to follow. And now we out there in the left field. And I don't see none of that principle of what they're practicing. I don't see none of it. I see what they practice of this country, USA. So let's come back home. It's time to come home, man.
It's embarrassing when you notice stuff.
It is.
And it's embarrassing for older people to lack such honor.
Mm-hmm.
And to be in this situation. This ain't got nothing to do but with principles. Our people stop honoring principles. They started going after materialism.
Mm-hmm.
And now they don't know who they are. They can't even tell their child who they are.
That's right.
That was the most devastating thing.
Mm.
It ain't getting gifts. It ain't Told when you don't know who you are and you see other people know who they are, they know around. You don't know yours, and that's your own nature. Everybody in their nature, walking around, even the evil man is in his nature. But the so-called black don't have a nature to be in. Everything feels like it's tricky. And it's these things that are really the game changer. This man lost his life. As you seen, he was sunk by the great God of law, not for himself. Because I've read, I've studied his text, and his text freed blacks and colors and Negroes. But that's who needed it the most. And now they act like such a noble, divine, and these things are underappreciated and well less deserved. Things that do not represent the principles of our divine mother are glorified by oldest to youngest. The glorifying of ignorance, not knowing who you are and watching your children fail. This is the saddest thing for Black of America. For you to not tell your children, for them to have no ideal in the world, to go always to others for what to learn, for what to do, for what to be. And from your own, you get nothing but disrespect, no principles, none of the teachings. You hear you a bad child before you hear you a good child. And this is a shame. And that's first in dishonor. Have children and raise them in such dishonor. These things have to be told as it is for the world to be fixed. Lies have fixed the world into not accepting the truth. And now the truth has been unselective to the ear. And so people choose their favorite ice cream, what they want to hear and what they will not hear. And this is called not only to yourself, for you, and gave you everything that you have, you consider as a genetic, that you consider as a cellular, that you consider as a cell. You don't know what this is. You don't even know how life began. And to disrespect life, respect the divine creator. People are still bondage from 1774. All from dishonor. Not because you ain't got land. Not because you ain't got money. What you lack is principles. Execution of principles. Establishing own principles. Building relationships. Having children. Treating yourself. This has been lost. And this has been returned by K.O.S. Due to the great God of law. The word God. But due to the divine creator. That this is under divine law and nothing else. Divine law is the principles of our divine mothers and our divine fathers, not the ones who went astray. and serve after the gods of Europe. Those the non-divine, those the peons, the Europeans. These the peons. They peed on what we honor. They say to hell with it. In our community or the black community, you know, you have heard to hell with it. And that's what they did to divinity. They said and now children are wanting to commit suicide because you said to hell with it. Reality is based on honor. Every day that sun rises in honor. Not because of the clouds, not because of as mothers and fathers were being when it comes to self-gratification of the lower self. So we know the lower self has of you for you to feed of nothing, which is called the abyss. And this is where all are headed because they have no honor. Everything you do now, your divine forefathers do. And it's recorded what they did. And so if you don't want to understand, keep going the way you want to go. But when you want to come and learn enlightenment, how to travel into the presence of the divine, then you come to K.O.S. Sufian community. So you can establish yourself in divinity. Necessaries. Everything. And especially to the youth, y'all need to fast. Because death is a path. There's 1,000 ways to die. But it's only one way to dishonor. And that's through yourself. Self has to die for all dishonor that you did. And this is where life meets. And we find and understand the difference between the divine creator and those who mask themselves as divine. The creators are honored. You can't honor truth. If you can't honor, you can't honor truth. Love is the foundation of truth. This is why you exist. Because the divine creator loves you and tell you the things that you should to have a fruitful life and to be very productive and industrial and successful and to have everlasting life. This was a divine right given to you, and it's up to you to be educated enough to know that divine right. You have the divine right of you to use these teachings, to use these principles, those you love. Time is closing for this section because this is very important. We can get into who is Noble Drew Ali.
Chapter 48.
Yo, chapter 48. Okay. Chapter 48. The end of time and the fulfilling of the prophecies. 1. The last prophet in these days is Noble Drew Ali, who was prepared divinely in due time by all law to redeem men from their sinful ways. To redeem men from their sinful ways. To redeem men from their sinful ways. and to warn them of the great wrath which is sure to come upon the earth. Number 2, John the forerunner of Jesus in those days, to warn and stir up the nation and prepare them to receive the divine creed. The divine creed, which was taught by Jesus. And this is where we have to understand the Bible is not our divine creed. Jesus did not teach the Bible. So the Bible could not be a divine creed. What Jesus taught was pre-biblical, pre-Bible, pre-sectarian. These things pre-denomination. Divine creed is just as it says, belief. A divine belief was taught by Isa. And this divine belief that was taught by Isa is called the Sufian. Right here. Damn. And this is what the great noble Drew Ali was telling us to return to Absalom. And this Absalom is a divine creed. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice is a divine covenant. Self with the divine creator. Middlemen is done for and always been over with. And it is between self, you, and the divine creator. So these things have to be repeated because we haven't heard them enough for us to be living. Number 3, in these modern days, there came a forerunner of Jesus who was divinely prepared by the great God Allah. And his name is Marcus Garvey, who did teach, warn the nations of the earth to prepare to meet the coming prophet, who was to bring of Absalom, who was to bring the true and divine Sufian of Absalom. And his name is Noble Drew Ali, who was prepared and sent to the new time religion to teach the old time religion, the divine religion, and the everlasting teachings to the everlasting teachings to that every nation shall and must worship under their own vine and fig tree, and return to their own, and be with their Father God Allah. Carried out. In the West, this was not known. So, in respect and honor to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Islam didn't begin there. Islam began in the West with Noble Drew Ali. Noble Drew Ali was sent by Allah. And with his teachings, all has been told, the truth and the divine truth. And all was revealed from his teachings. So, in all honor and respect to the true and living divine creator, who showed his proof through a testament of nobility, and to our own noble and divine self, we are returning to our own thrice blessed, as the noble told us, is he who has made love and purity his very own. Number 4, the Moorish Science Temple of America is a lawfully chartered and incorporated organization. Any subordinate team that desires them to issue to every state throughout the United States. And so this was not far-fetched at all when he was bringing back our divine name. Moorish is divine. It comes from the root word moraba, those who follow the divine wisdom. So Moorish science means divine wisdom. Divine wisdom has came to save all in every nation. And so now we have this as the all Sufian, the all nations, every individual, from the catastrophe and the calamity of the end of days, and bring about the day of redemption. These things are throughout immemorial time, in the immemorial time. Time never was when the divine was present. Has never changed since its beginning. But what have changed is the falsehood. And it will continue to change because it's the abyss of ignorance. And in the abyss of ignorance, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice do not live. And so we have to understand things are coming through and have been divinely prepared to free search an individual, to a family, to a community, and return them back to the Lord, the divine creator. Number 5, that the world may hear and know the truth. That among the descendants of Africa, there is still much wisdom. There is still much wisdom. Still much wisdom to be learned in these days for the redemption of the sons of men under love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. 6, we and pure nation, descended from the inhabitants of Africa, do not desire to amalgamate or marry into the families of the pale-skinned nations of Europe, neither serve the gods of their religion. The principles of their religion, because our divine forefathers are the true and divine founders of the first divine religious creed for the redemption and salvation of mankind on earth. That's how precious what we have and what was returned to us. Moorish wisdom is the greatest gift to be given to the black folks in America. Moorish wisdom is divine wisdom, linking you to divinity and the divine creator through honor. And all you have to do is be in honor. Number 7. Therefore, we are returning the church, the Bible, and Christianity back to the European nations. as it was prepared by their forefathers for their earthly salvation.
Now, we are, that's it. That's who prepared it. But they use the word God and they think God prepared it, and they are the deliverers to us. And raise more hell and raise more Cain and a long life.
While number 8, while we, the Moorish, Moab, American Canaanites, the Moorish Americans are returning to Absalom. It was founded by our divine forefathers for our earthly and divine salvation.
Beautiful.
And seeing all that is covered by the word divine creed and your of the great God Allah is honor thy father and thy mother upon the earth land which the Lord thy God Allah hath given you. Who gave us this gift to come to earth? And for coming to earth, coming to existence land, all you got to do is honor the divine, and your days shall be longer upon the earth land. You shouldn't be dying young. You shouldn't be wanting to die young. If you lived a good old life, you should be happy. Your days were made longer.
Yep.
From living divine. Because you see what non-divine gets you living, dead quick.
Yes, sir.
So we're talking living longer. This is a gift. The Sufian is a divine gift. Number 10, come all ye Asiatics of America and hear the truth about your nationality and birthrights. Because you are not Negroes. Learn of your divine forefathers and divine creed, that you will learn to love. That you will learn to love the divine instead of hate what is not. So this is something that people have to do, is they got to learn the ancient Moorish wisdom, the divine wisdom. And this is where all the glory comes in from. The Sufian is a divine creed, a divine belief, a divine wisdom of the divine creator, nothing greater than the divine creator. This is what we must understand. To fall from this is to fall from humanity. Humans are divine. All humans are divine. Humanity is divinity. And this is why we must uplift fallen humanity. They don't know that they are divine by birthright. But you have to link yourself with the divine to be divine. And in closing of 11, that the true and divine way is simple as this: we honor all the true and divine prophets. Honor means not disobedient and true prophets. Not do when you want to do it. Not act the way you want to act. But we're talking about Sufi honor. Sufi honor. Honor all the true and divine prophets. Because all the true and divine prophets, as Noble Drew Ali, come from the great God Allah. So the great God Allah is the divine creator, Allah. Yeah, so that was very beautiful. And peace and love to all. Getting ready to close down our meeting. Divine on record.
Oh, yeah.
And we got the Sufian on record.
On record.
For the world, for all to be saved, to be redeemed. Save yourself, save your life, save your family, save your community in the name of the Lord of the divine creator. As-salam wa adu.